Good afternoon. We are Group 6 composed of Chicano, Ong, Oreo, Orleans, Samson, Sunico, Velasco, and Viray. To start, let's first define Ubernet. It is a reference to the internet today as it ties people and objects together more than anything has ever done in the past. It is also defined as the internet of the future, when every human being and every object in the world is represented on the web. Ubernet is what will be created when everyone is connected to the internet, and the internet is also connected to all our tools and belongings. Basically, Ubernet is a hypothetical future of the internet where data becomes accessible and unrestricted.
It is also expected that Ubernet will facilitate the centralization and conglomeration of services. If we compare the internet traffic before to present, it was relatively spread out. At present, only 30 or so major services such as Facebook, Google, Netflix, and Amazon.
The internet that we once experienced, however, will change. The traditional browsing would become less significant, and new ways of utilizing the internet will emerge. The partial dissolution of net neutrality will likely speed up the shift as companies prioritize specific information lanes and distribute information instead of making hubs. From a unified internet, it will now become a system where specific companies control the distribution of information, prioritizing their own interests.
The Ubernet will fundamentally change the nature of human experience, specifically how we interact online. Ubernet will shift its focus to building relationships between individuals and megasites, aka major online platforms. These platforms will become central to the human experience and therefore influencing how information is shared and consumed.
In the future, our affiliation will be more consumerist and less geographical. For example, phone brands. Instead of identifying the brands as American and Korean, they are identified as Apple versus Samsung. So, our identity will be defined based on the companies and products we choose.
In addition, social platforms such as Facebook will be the main public space for online interactions. However, it is not realistic to expect these platforms to bridge existing social gaps. Since we now know more about the topic Ubernet, let's discuss and compare specific predictions for 2025 and the current situation in 2024. Let's start with the prediction. It was predicted that all 7+ billion humans on this planet will sooner or later be connected to each other and fixed destinations via the Uber and not internet. This envisions a fully interconnected world where every individual is digitally linked through a seamless global network, integrating communication, commerce, and education into a single unified system. If this were to happen, there will definitely be cons and pros. The con is when every person on this planet can reach and communicate two-way with every person on this planet. The power of nation-states to control every human inside its geographic boundaries may start to diminish. As for the pro, it can solve major challenges that humanity faces, such as climate change, disease control, and resource management, which can be global issues that are hard to be solved by individual governments alone. The solutions enabled are global collaboration, data sharing, and faster action because there is greater connection among people. By leveraging the internet, humanity can tackle complex global issues more efficiently and cooperatively.
Since we now know the prediction along with its pros and cons, we can now discuss its relationship with the situation today. According to Kemp and Kepios, as of 2024, approximately 67.5% of the global population are connected to the internet. This widespread adoption demonstrates significant progress supported by advanced infrastructure. Additionally, billions of people are familiar with using online platforms for communication, learning, and commerce, making the concept of the Ubernet plausible in the long term. Let's recall that the con of the prediction is that the nation loses its power and ability to control its people and the information being disseminated between them. This is not fully reflected in today's situation since there are still some countries like North Korea that heavily restrict access to the internet, allowing the government to control all the information being handed out. But for the majority of the world, this con is becoming a reality since we more or less have free reign to roam the web. In today's world, technology like the internet and the Internet of Things has drastically changed how information is accessed and shared, reducing centralized control over media. This makes verifying political information harder and allows individuals to freely express opinions and criticize governments. While this fosters awareness and drives calls for change, it also spreads misinformation, drama, and distrust, often leading to skepticism about official narratives and diminishing trust in authorities.
After discussing the relationship of the current situation to the predictions con, we now move to the relationship between the current situation and the predictions pro. The prediction and the current situation align in several key areas but differ in their execution and progress. Prediction envisions a future where the internet becomes a highly efficient tool for addressing global challenges like climate change, disease control, and resource management, emphasizing swift collaboration across borders and social political systems. Similarly, the current situation recognizes those issues as well, such as the COVID-19 pandemic and resource shortages demand international cooperation. Digital platforms have enabled data sharing and collective responses as seen during the pandemic. However, the predictions pro assumption assumes a more idealized system, while the current situation highlights the slow action and inefficiencies in global coordination, as well as the ongoing development of inclusive frameworks of the UN's Global Digital Compact. This shows progress toward the prediction but is not fully attained yet because not everyone has access to the internet, such as browsing what to do during the COVID-19 pandemic.
In short, the prediction does not entirely align but is close to the current situation, especially with the overall trend of growing digital connectivity. With over two-thirds of the world already online, the foundations for a globally integrated network are solid. Familiarity with digital tools and the expanding reach of infrastructure support the trajectory towards the Ubernet. However, even if the prediction is close to the current situation, it still overestimates the speed of progress. Nearly a third of the global population remains offline, largely due to economic, geographical, and political barriers.
The group's collective opinion suggests that the prediction about the Internet's future aligns closely with the current situation in 2024. With ongoing technological advancements and increasing global Internet usage, the prediction remains relevant. One key aspect of the prediction highlights how unrestricted Internet access could weaken the control of nation states. This is evident in restricted countries like North Korea, where limited access states' loyalty to the regime. However, tech-savvy individuals are using anti-censorship tools to access information, potentially leading to societal change. The group also acknowledges that the internet fosters global collaboration, particularly in solving problems that transcend borders. For example, during the COVID-19 pandemic, digital platforms enabled real-time data sharing and cooperative health strategies. The internet's ability to connect people worldwide not only facilitates technological progress but also provides solutions in areas like healthcare. Despite these benefits, the group notes that without proper governance, the internet's growth could lead to chaos. Thank you for listening, and we are now free to entertain your questions.